Hello everyone, welcome to Around the World. Today's video is France. Let's get started. Allons-y. Frenchmen rightly claim their capital, Paris, is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Where else can one see such fine buildings, handsome boulevards and squares, and lovely public gardens? People of all nations come to Paris to admire its beauty, and many young people stay to study some art or music. Paris is important not only because it attracts so many foreign visitors, however. Standing on the banks of the River Seine, it is a busy river port, and also the centre of the roads, railways and airways of France. It is the terminus of the two chief railway routes across Europe, eastwards to Berlin and Warsaw, and southeastwards to Belgrade and Istanbul. Several car factories in the Paris district make the city the main centre of the French motor industry. It is probably best known, however, at the centre of fashion, and the Parisian ladies are said to be the most smartly dressed in the world. France has a coastline on the Mediterranean Sea as well as on the Antarctic Ocean, and her second largest city is the Mediterranean seaport of Marseille. Much of the trade of Marseille is with North Africa and with countries east of the Suez Canal. Copra, groundnuts and palm oil, which the dock workers of Marseille unload, are taken to the soap and margarine factories of the city. Far up the river Rhône, at the point where it is joined by its tributary the Saône, stands Lyon, the third city of France. Here the main industry is silk manufacture. This industry began because the farmers raised silk works, feeding them on the leaves of the mulberry trees, which grow in the warm sunny region of France. In the northeast, near the coalfield which France shares with Belgium, the air is dark with the smoke of factory chimneys. Lille and other towns have textile factories and engineering works. In Lorraine are the largest deposits of iron ore in Europe. The mine workers produce far more iron ore than their country needs, and France sells the surplus to Germany in exchange for coal. Because their country is poor in coal, the French are using as much water power as they can to manufacture electricity, especially in the south. Many of the men who live around the northwest coast, in the region known as Brittany, are fishermen. These people of Brittany speak their own Breton language, and on special occasions they wear their native Breton costume. The rocky broken coasts and the moors inland are like those of Cornwall and Devonshire in England. Many French families spend their seaside holidays in Brittany, but the most important holiday region in France faces the Mediterranean Sea. This is the Riviera, which has become world famous for its scenery and its sunshine. Summers are warm and winters are mild, so the weather is always suited for a seaside holiday. So many visitors come here that large resorts such as Nice and Cannes, many smaller ones have arisen. The French are much more of a nation of farmers than the British. Their country has few very large towns, but many villages, and although twice as large as Great Britain, its population is smaller. Most French farmers possess only a small area of land, but they work very hard on it and treat it with great care as to produce the best possible crops. Often their methods are old-fashioned. Many French farmers still use horses or oxen instead of a tractor to pull the plough. Yet they manage to feed the nation so that France has to buy far less food from abroad than does Great Britain. The farmers do not grow the same crops in all parts of France because of differences in climate. In the extreme north, with its cool and rather rainy weather, their crops are much more like those of Belgian farmers across the frontier. They produce sugar beet, with the refineries in towns such as Lille convert into sugar, and flax, with the textile mills, make it into linen. Everywhere in the French countryside there are fruit orchards, and the farmers in the northern half of the country produce large quantities of apples and pears. The Breton farmers grow apples from which they make cider. In this way again, Brittany resembles the English counties of Devon and Cornwall. One of the most important crops in France is wheat, for the French people are very fond of wheaten bread. France is thus one of the world's most producers of wheat, and unlike Great Britain, has to buy little from abroad. Two of the areas where the wheat is chiefly grown are the district around Paris and the southwest, the region known as Aquitaine. French farmers are even more famous for their vineyards than for their wheat fields. They cultivate the vine in all parts of the country except the north. The climate is too cool and cloudy for the grapes to ripen. Wine is the favourite drink of most Frenchmen, and the grapes are grown mainly to produce wine. No other country in the world produces so much wine as France. Enough wine is made to ship large quantities abroad, especially from the port of Bordeaux, near the main vine-growing area. The farmers of Languedoc, in the warm sunny south, produce about half of the country's wine. What great care the farmer takes with his vines! He supports each plant by tying it to wires stretched between wooden posts. He then prunes the plants not once but several times in order to improve the grapes. He pushes up the soil round the roots to protect them against insect pests and diseases. All through the year the work goes on until the farmer harvests the grape in the autumn. Then he and his helpers work along the rows of vines, picking the bunches of ripe juicy grapes and putting them into baskets. They empty the baskets into a huge tub. This is drawn onto a cart to the wine press, where the juice is squeezed out for the production of some wine. Some of the famous French wines have been named after the districts of where they came from. Bordeaux wines come from the district round Bordeaux, while Champagne and Burgundy come from these two provinces. Many vine growers in the south have olive trees, selling the fruit for the production of the valuable olive oil. Others grow flowers from which perfumes are made, and vegetables. Farmers whose land is not suitable for wheat or vines, but makes good pasture, often raise dairy cattle, especially in northern France. On the poorer soil of the Central Plateau and other highland regions, where the pastures are rougher, the farmers raise sheep and goats. From the sheep they obtain wool, while the goats provide milk which is good for making cheese. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Please click like on this video and comment of what you thought. Then click on subscribe to my channel so you can keep up to date with new videos of different countries. See you soon.